So we put these metal stakes where we're gonna have our orchard, and it's about 2 or 3 months before we're gonna plant all the trees. So we're gonna go ahead and test the soil to see if it's alkaline or acidic, and I think it's gonna be more alkaline. And then we're gonna do phosphorus, nitrates,
and nitrogen and potash.
And potash as well while we're doing this. So we're gonna start by getting a sample about 4 inches. 4 inches deep. So let's do that. So that's good. So we filled that up. I don't know if you can see that. So we filled that up. Now we're gonna take our dropper, right? Oh no, we put powder in, dropper, shake it, correct?
Yeah, I can't get this open. Fill line.
Up to the fill line. Oh, a little bit over here, take that.
Do you want to dump some out?
No, that's fine.
Well, I can't see what you're doing when you're way down there.
So, dirt's supposed to mix around?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so we leave it for about a minute, right?
We wait for it to settle.
Okay, so it's slightly acidic. So this is where we're planning on planting our orchard. It's gonna start here with that stake, and then go all the way down to over there with those stakes. We have 12 trees coming. 4 apple, 4 peach, and 4 cherry trees of 2 different varieties each. So we're gonna have 2 different types of apples, 2 different types of cherries, and 2 different types of peach. Those are coming in about 2 months-ish. So we're gonna put some humic acid on the ground. We just tested, as you saw, and it came back as a 6.5. We're looking for about a 5 to a 7. So I don't think there's any harm in doing this with fruit trees. Now, it's not gonna bump it up way too acidic. It's not enough to do that, but I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. Okay, so it's supposed to snow either tomorrow or the next day, and then later in this week. So that snow's gonna fall. It's gonna help work all of that into the ground. So instead of just watering it right after, we're gonna let nature take its course. What we're gonna do is use this little straw to drop water into the test, and then it says to put some of the water into the this chamber that's behind the grades. That way, if the color of the water discolors any of these, you have an accurate representation. So let's go ahead and start with the nitrogen test. Waters.
There's also scissors right next to you.
I know, I just... Ooh.
Make sure it is held properly and tight. Shake thoroughly. Allow color to develop for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh.
Do not allow it for over 10 minutes.
Okay, so that's tight. So shake it up.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake it up thoroughly. Okay, and then we're just gonna set this one aside. We just found these little test kits at our local nursery, and knowing the potash, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and the pH of the soil is really helpful, especially when planting fruit trees, because they need specific levels. Now, we can't just immediately change all the levels in the soil. It's going to take time, but this kind of gives us a baseline, and so next year, 6 months down the road, we can go ahead and actually test the levels again and see. And in addition to adding humeric acid, I think it was, we added blood meal as well to try to get some nitrogen in the soil. As you can see, we have, it's even less than the depleted mark. We have no nitrogen in our soil.
Great.
Dang. Okay, so I think we're just going to need to add a bunch of compost and add a lot of fertilizer, and we'll be alright. Oh, fuck. I wasn't supposed to do that. It's okay, we still got 1 minute for it to all settle back. Oh, it settles back quick. And then for potash, it looks like the deficient, right?
Yeah. So not too bad.
No, not too bad. It's not depleted. And potash is easy because we can just add our fire ash into it. So for phosphorus, it looks like we have a surplus of phosphorus. Which I'm not surprised about this one, seeing as a lot of our soil is volcanic. That makes sense, right? That there'd be a lot of phosphorus in it. So I think we have more than enough phosphorus. Just no nitrogen.
Which is really bad.
Or no potash, which... So if you watched the last video, you know that we got our chicks and we got the brooder all set up and we got our trees as well. So today is actually the day we set up our brooder to get ready for the chicks, and unexpectedly I was at our little store where our post office box is and our trees showed up while I was there. Which is weird because Stark Bros is supposed to email you giving you a shorter window of when they're going to deliver them. Thanks, guys. We got 1.5 feet of snow this weekend, so we haven't dug our holes yet. So we have to store these until we can dig our holes, but let's show you what we got. One, we got 3 of these guys, which is just a coconut fiber compressed brick. What you do is you open this up, plop it in lukewarm water, and it blows up into a bunch of coconut fiber, and then you add that to your soil as like a soil medium to help it be better, because
it's just clay.
It's just clay.
It's not even soil.
No.
But yes, we got them from Stark Bros. They did send them as live plants. They're about 3 to 4 foot tall.
Yep. So we got 12 trees total. We got 4 apple, 4 peach, and 4 cherry. And we got 2 varieties of each type of tree. So we got 2 varieties of peach, apple, and cherry. That way if they need to cross-pollinate, they can do that.
So they come wrapped in a plastic bag like this. At the bottom, they have newspaper around the roots, and it's wet to keep them moist. And so it comes wrapped in a plastic bag to keep it wet during shipping. And so basically...
So they're bare root trees, and as you can see, like she said, they wrap newspaper around their root balls to keep their roots nice and moist. And then each one is about 3 to 4 feet tall. And as you can see, they ship them while they're dormant. A couple of them have little growth on them. So they want you to plant them when your temperatures are going to be above 40 to 50 degrees, or I think it's 40 degrees in the daytime, even if they get down to the teens at night, which is perfect for our weather conditions right now. So we need to plant them as soon as possible. We are going to keep them like this until the weekend, so they're going to be like this for about 5 days. Then we're going to dig the holes and plant them this weekend.
They do come labeled as to which type, which fruit they are, and what variety that they are. And so that's helpful. These will likely be left on, as well as us making a map.
So these are all semi-dwarf. I think the peach things are the only ones that are full size and not semi-dwarf. So they graft these onto an existing root ball. So this is the semi-dwarf actual plant grafted onto the root ball. It might be the other way around. It might be the plant grafted onto a semi-dwarf root ball. I'm not actually sure, but these are semi-dwarf trees. So they're only going to get about 15 feet wide. So instead of like 40. To store them, we're going to go ahead, and these are all nice and moist still, so we're going to wrap them back up in the plastic and shove them in our crawl space where it is nice and cool and dark, because that's what they tell you to do, cool and dark. Let's get that done.
That stuff isn't in there.
So you want to give me the other one? Alright, so we got the trees out of the crawl space. We're going to plant them today. And we probably should have done this a little earlier, but we have a mixture of root
Starter,
what actually is it? It is root stimulator and water in this bucket right here. And then we're going to soak the tree roots in that. So, Maple, do not drink that. Let's grab the trees out. Excuse me, baby. Excuse me. We'll unwrap them. Has the newspaper still wet? Yep. Yeah, perfect. So we're just going to take the trees out, take the newspaper off of them. I was just going to take them all out and put them in together, because I don't think we could do them individually. So I'll hold them all up if you try to take.
Fish in the bag.
How's that look? Does that look good? Okay, it doesn't have to be every single piece, that's fine. Just the main stuff. Then Mom, we take that off of the thing and step back. I'm going to try to just, can you put those roots down? Perfect. So those are now going to soak while we dig their holes and get them all ready. So while these are soaking, we're going to go dig the holes for the trees. Look at We didn't have much choice about when we had to actually plant our fruit trees. They just kind of showed up unannounced, and then it had just snowed about 2 feet. So luckily the weather got warm really quick and all the snow started to melt, but that meant that everything was a giant muddy mess. So we started by digging some of the holes that we hadn't dug already. And then once we dug those holes, we went and started cleaning out the holes that we already had dug. Now the holes we already had dug had filled with water because all the snow melted and that's the low point. So we tried to remove all that water, and then we realized that that really wasn't possible because they just filled up with water again within another hour or so. And so we ended up digging all new holes for the trees, which worked a little better, and they stayed way drier than the holes that had been there for a long time. Planting the bare root trees wasn't very hard. We got this planting mix from our local nursery, and we dug a hole deeper than it needed to be, then added our natural soil back in to bring the soil level back up to where it needed to be, to where it covered all the roots, but didn't quite cover that graft. Because I got it right the second time before, the graft of the tree is the actual full-size tree, the whole trunk of it, and then the root system is the dwarf root system. So if we bury it past the graft, we could get roots coming from the actual full-size tree, and then it's going to get bigger than we want. But once we got it to the right height, we put some of that soil right around the roots and then did layers of the soil and layers of our clay soil. And then once that was all done, we put a stake in because it's very windy here in Flagstaff, and so we wanted our little trees to be supported. Additionally, you want to build up a little pile of dirt underneath the roots. That way it helps the roots kind of spread out, so it's easier for them to find the nutrients and water in the soil and not just be in one big clump in the soil. So we spread the roots out and then filled it in with that planting soil, and then again we did the layers of planting soil, then our natural soil, then planting soil up until we got above the roots, but then again below that graft. We also put mulch, or our form of mulch out here, which is just pine needles around the tree. We left it about 2 or 3 inches away from the trunk. That way it wouldn't promote pests getting up into the tree, but also would keep the soil around the tree nice and cool, and also keep the moisture in. So we added those pine needles and then gave all of our trees a big drink of water. So all of those light brown little circles are our trees. We have 12 of them. We have 2 Sam Sweet Cherry, which are semi-dwarf trees. We have 2, where's the other cherry? We have 2 Napoleon Royal Anne Sweet Cherry semi-dwarfs. We have 2 Honeycrisp Apple semi-dwarfs. We have 2 Red Delicious Apple semi-dwarfs, and then we have 2 Alberta peach trees and 2 contender peach trees. And our peach trees are standard size, so they're going to get slightly taller and wider than the rest of the trees, but even the standard size peach trees are pretty small compared to a standard sized apple tree or something. So they're going to be about the same size as our semi-dwarf trees, which are only going to get to be about 14 to 15 feet wide and about 14 to 15 feet tall total. So they should be perfect for our little farm. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave them down in the description. I will try to get Links to all of these products over at Stark Bros down in the description as well. Make sure you give us a like if you enjoyed this video and hit that subscribe button. And also make sure you stay tuned for our upcoming videos. We are going to be finishing up our house and getting our final inspection pretty soon here, and then working on our chicken coop, working on our countertops, and all sorts of things. So stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.